Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's Thankful Thursday. I'm Andrea of Andrea Gonzalez Motivations, and I'm here to greet you with love this morning. I'm here to inspire you with hope, to challenge you for change, and impact you for life. As I said, today is Thankful Thursday, and today we're going to talk about love is action. Love can be expressed in many different ways. Sometimes people as people and busy people working and normal routine of life, getting up, going to work, dealing with children, making dinner, we can get into routine, and sometimes it can feel like those that we care for, they don't really show us a lot of love or appreciation. But love is action. There are two types of love according to the scriptures. There is agape love, which is unconditional. It's not conditioned by what you do for me. It is because I love you, and because the simple fact that I love you, I'm going to care for you, do for you. It is has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with me. And the other type is phileo. And phileo is you do for me, I do for you. It's brotherly love. It is if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. But the kind of love we're talking about today is going to be agape. It is love in action and love without you having to do anything that I'm going to show you love. Oftentimes, as our family members, you hear a lot of mothers complain sometimes that their families are not showing them love and appreciation for all the things that they do. And it feels that way because no one is saying, I appreciate you doing that. Or they just think out of themselves that what she's doing is normal. This is what you always do. You always wash my clothes. You always cook dinner. And yes, those things are true. She probably does, or he probably does. But the fact that you show them love, care, and concern makes them feel appreciated for what they're giving to you. And because phileo love really is a more physical, brotherly understanding, we can't operate in you do for me, I do for you. Why? Because relationships are not 50-50. Mothers to children, fathers to children, they're not 50-50. There's a lot more going in as a parent to a child. And then as the child grows up and matures and the parents have taught them and disciplined them and raised them, do the kids after 25, 30 years begin to sow back into their parents? Neither is it 50-50 in marriage relationships. The shifting always occurs because the balance is different. What do I mean by that? It might be that one spouse is going to school, they're working and going to school. So they're in school 2 nights a week. That might cause the other adult or the other spouse to pick up maybe the kids on that day or take them to a tutoring session or prepare dinner for the family, making sure that the house is continuing to run smooth. Nothing is ever 100% equal, but it should always be evolving and changing because this might be the time that you need the support of the family to do what is in your heart to do or to do what you're trying to succeed at doing. But at some point, that should be given back. At some point, that tide should be changing. And because you love the other person, because loving the other person the agape way is loving them without them doing or persuading you to give them love. You're doing it because it's something that you want to show them. And the Bible talks about love is when you esteem the other person higher than yourself. I have to admit, I am continuing to grow in this area because it's natural to not want to give love when you've not received love. But that's not the way that we challenge ourselves to be better. We do what's right because it's the right thing to do, not because it makes us feel good, because doing what's right all the time won't feel good. You're not promised that doing what's right always feels good, but you're always promised that God will return it for goodness, that He will always bless it, that He will always multiply it. And so that becomes the ultimate in my life that I want to live my life according to. Not necessarily that it's going to come back from people, or normally the people you give it to aren't the ones that give it back to you. So keep that in mind that when you love someone, You love them because of how you feel towards them, not because of generally how they feel towards you. And when you do love in action, love is in action. You can't tell someone you love them and there's no action behind it. So, really quick, we're just going to talk about ways you can show love. There are multiple ways. There's no one right or wrong way to show love because every person receives or interprets love differently. There are some people that interpret love with quality time. There are some that interpret it with showering them with gifts. There are some that they're shown, love by a simple touch of holding their hand. There are some by the words that you speak to them. There are some with showing by gestures, giving them a hug, possibly. But showing love is understanding who that person is and giving them the love that they need. Not the love that you want to give, but understanding that person and giving them the love that they need. For myself, I love gifts, but that's not my love language. My love language in particular would be for you to help me. So it's of service. So you would show more love to me if I'm in the kitchen cooking and you come beside me and help wash dishes. Because that shows me that you appreciate what I'm doing. And even though I can probably handle washing dishes, it lets me know that as I'm cooking and focusing on this, and the kitchen's got to get clean, you're showing me that you care about me enough to take off a part of the burden of what goes along with cooking and preparation. So I love gifts. I love quality time. I love sitting and talking and listening, watching a movie. But I would prefer that you would help me do something that would bless my day, that would make my day go easier. And so you need to learn the person that you say that you love so that you can show them the love that they need, that helps them to be whole and to be complete. And also, a couple of other things is when you care about someone, you listen to them. How can you show someone that you care about them? With my children, because I was a single parent and everyone needed my time, it was overwhelming in the beginning. And then I got a revelation that they don't need a lot of my time. They just need my undivided attention. So I got the calendar out, and maybe this is a tip for some mother or father who's trying to find time for each one of their children. So I got a calendar out and I allowed them to pick one day on the calendar that just them and myself would go out to dinner. Now, sometimes your kids can think, wow, this is going to be an absolute free for all. So I put some boundaries in there. We're not going to spend more than $15 for the dinner, and you get an hour to an hour and a half of personal time, just you and I. No telephone, no one else to come, no one else to be there, just you and I. So I would prepare dinner ahead of time for the other children. And then when it was time for me and this child to go to dinner, normally they pick places like McDonald's. And I remember one time my second daughter, she picked Chuck E. Cheese. She wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese. But I found out as they got older how much they appreciated me taking out time to spend with only them. Even though they weren't going to spend more than $15, even though it was only an hour and a half, it was an hour and a half that belonged to them. And they cherished it. At first I thought I was just appeasing them, but I came to realize how much I was putting into them, how much they appreciated knowing that they were a priority on my list. That I have lots of friends and lots of family and people who want to spend time with me, but they were my priority. And when I made them my priority, they felt really special about who they were. And understanding who they are is important to me. And for them to know that even though I have to work, even though I have to cook, even though I minister and I have to have obligations at church and on my job, that they are very important to me and that other things can wait as long as, I'm trying to show them that I love them and having healthy boundaries for them. Sometimes I would pack their lunch and just put little notes in there. Hope you're having a great day. You were studying really hard last night. I hope your test goes well. My oldest daughter, she would love her scalp being rubbed. Sometimes I would just rub her scalp and encourage her. So love can be shown in a multitude of ways. Try learning how your partner, whoever it is, your child, your spouse, your mother, your brother, your sister, just shower them with love. And I'll leave you with this quote today. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. It's by Lao Child. And so I want you to understand that love is action. You can't really tell someone you love them without showing any kind of action attached to it. It's Thankful Thursday. Be thankful for those that are in your life. Be thankful for what they bring to the table and let them know how much you love them by showing them. Remember, I hope that you're inspired. I hope that I challenge you. And most of all, I hope that we continue to grow to be the people we're called to be. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.